Support for Another Round comes from Squarespace. Go to squarespace.com today for a domain experience that's transparent and easy to set up. Just make sure you enter offer code Another Round at checkout to get 10% off. Make your next move with Squarespace.
Hey everyone, Eleanor from the Pod Squad here. I just wanted to share with you some very exciting news, and that is that Another Round is having a live show in Chicago, and we want to see you there. Join us on June 21st at Thalia Hall for a live taping of the podcast. It's going to be amazing. It's part of WBEZ's Podcast Passport series. And tickets go on sale on Friday, May 5th. And for more information, go to wbez.org/events.
My name is Samar Nawar.
My name is Kendall Doyle.
I am
Mason.
I'm Joy.
My name is Umar.
My sign says immigrants are more thoroughly vetted than Trump's cabinet.
It does not say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty. It's a reference to the film Clueless.
It says facts over fear. Why am I here?
Because it's not fair that Trump keeps on separating families.
Trump says make America great again. He's not talking about us. He's not talking about people of color. LGBTQ community. He's not talking about refugees. It's like America has been great, and it doesn't mean great for some in a specific demographic. It means great for all.
You're more likely to be killed by a lawnmower than a refugee.
Not in our city! Not in our city!
So those voices that y'all just heard are a few of the people who came out to Battery Park in New York City over the weekend.
Yo, second week in a row of your presidency. People are out in the streets.
People hate you so much that they're like, it's cold outside, I'm still gonna put on pants and go outside.
I'm coming from Egypt.
Taiwan.
Costa Rican, black and Latino.
From Tanzania.
My name is Anna.
My name is Abdul Qadir.
My name is Arcia.
Mehek.
Vanessa.
Pedro.
You remember my name?
I'm 53.
I'm 23.
I'm 26.
We're from Iran.
I'm Puerto Rican.
Oh, we're from India.
I'm from the Caribbean, St. Vincent in the West Indies. You know what I'm saying?
I am an immigrant myself, and it's outrageous for me and immoral that this guy is doing what he's doing. President, whatever, tiny hands. I'm not even using his name anymore.
The new weekend now, instead of going to brunch, is finding a rally and being an activist.
Any kind of movement has to be intersectional, so I hold myself accountable in showing up for other people in the way they show up for my communities.
I'm Lucia.
Fatumata.
Moncho Lopez.
Ariana.
Ruhi.
My name is Pamela.
Get your tiny hands off our immigrants.
The involvement that Russia took in the outcome of this election is disturbing.
It says permanent residents should not be evicted for being Muslim.
So the sign says radical Muslim feminist.
I'm from Iran, that's why I'm here. I was supposed to see my family soon for New Year, and I'm a permanent resident for 10 years. But then all of a sudden, with one signature, I'm not allowed to go and visit my family. So I'm here to kind of resist and show that, this is affecting my life.
Please, Mr. Trump, leave everybody in peace. The idea of banning Muslims is really bizarre, especially considering that Muslims have been part of the American story from the start of the Republic.
I think it's wrong, and he's not supposed to be banning immigrants because they want a better life.
Let's put it simply, all Muslims are not terrorists. That's it.
Just seeing all these people out here gives me hope. It's up to us to say, economic prosperity for some should not come over the tolerance and the acceptance and the inclusiveness for all. The people that can't speak up, we're all here for them.
I could be home watching the Knicks lose, but you say this is more important.
No matter how cold it is, no matter what day it is, we're going to keep going out to the streets. So if you build a wall, we'll all be there to tear it down, Every time I feel defeated or frustrated, I just think about people who've come before me who've dealt with worse, to be quite honest, and they were out here and they did just this and they never gave up.
You don't need to build walls, you have to build bridges. Welcome people in.
Kids, this is Sephora.
Hey.
And she has a message here too as well.
I don't want my classmates to leave because Donald Trump wants them to go back to their state.
My kids are gonna ask me where I was and what I did when all this was happening, and I don't want to tell them I sat around and did nothing.
Hi everyone, I'm Heben.
And I'm Tracy.
And welcome to Another Round with Heben and Tracy.
Whoop, whoop, whoop,
World
whoop,
is still alive edition.
Yeah, hanging in there.
Barely.
Kirk Franklin is threatening to to spray people with the chopper on Twitter.
When the gospel singers are like, pull up, son.
Final days.
Yo,
the very last days.
We have a jam-packed show today because a lot is happening.
So we're going to have a conversation with Ahmed Ali Akbar, who you may know as the host of our Sister Brother podcast. Pronouns are them and they.
Yes.
See something, say something.
Shout out to our sister
and-
podcast.
Yes, and also the lovely and illustrious Bim Adewunmi.
Bim!
Who, you know her, you love her. She's on the internet. She's been on our show a couple times. And
Is
on
your
See Something,
shiny
Say Something.
suit all right?
America's isn't overall. So we're going to talk about that.
We're going to talk about America's dull suit.
Yeah. And we're also going to talk to a man named Yasha, whose parents-in-law were actually detained for over 24 hours at JFK. And we're also going to give you a few tips for making some poppin'-ass protest signs.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's so weird because history is like happening right now all around us. And
I feel like people are always like, you know what I would have done back then?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. We have a chance to do
Back
something
then is
different
now,
back then.
motherfucker. Try it.
Exactly. So since this is such a huge idea, the bulk of our show today is going to focus on the thing that happened, but also focusing on centering Muslim voices because right now they're the ones that we should be listening to. Now, always, first of all, but now more than ever. So
Word.
we're going to do our best to give them the microphone, put them in the spotlight. And your job, listeners, is to listen. Okay, we are in Le Studio today with two of our faves from BuzzFeed and See Something, Say Something and Our Lives in General. We have Miss
Yes.
Bimford Louise, or as most people know her, Bim Adewunmi. Hello.
Her actual name.
And Ahmed Ali Akbar, host of See Something, Say Something. So we're here to talk about y'all's little president and his executive order. Because shit is crazy right now.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen y'all in a minute and like I've aged 15 years.
Yes. So Heben is now 22 years old.
Oh my God, stop it.
And crucially, she looks 14. So, you know.
So we wanted to have you two here to chat because we love you, first of all, and you're super fun. And it's really important right now to center Muslim voices because
that never happens.
Because it never happens, for one, and for two, like, it's so important right now to listen to the people who are going to suffer the most underneath this fucking tyrant of a presidency. So first question, do you remember like exactly where you were when you heard about the executive order?
I don't think I do. First of all, can I just say very quickly, at the top of this, you said y'all's little president. I just want to say very quickly that I'm actually British. We have our own
In case it wasn't clear.
True. Everybody else is president but
Thank
them.
you.
Yes, yes.
We have an actual, we have our own prime minister who's not great. But, okay, so where was I?
Y'all started this, so... Anyways.
I mean, listen, technically I'm also Nigerian, so I'm also going to put that one on the table as well.
Several homes to
I mean, you know, no, I don't remember where I was exactly, but I remember just kind of closing my eyes and doing that Jean-Luc Picard kind of palm to the face, like, gosh.
Yeah.
I think I was like in bed all day. I just knew it was coming and I could not get up. And I was just like, I was in a way like not thinking about it, but even though it was happening, but like my body was like shutting down. And at the end of the night, I went to the Caminas who do our music. They had a concert in Brooklyn for South Asian immigrants, basically. And it was like perfect timing. And so I like sort of like went out and started yelling a song called Sharia Law in the USA. And that was very cathartic.
I'm listening.
It must have felt like a church service.
What are the lyrics to this song?
The first lyric is, it's obviously a reference on Anarchy in the UK by the Sex Pistols. The first line is, I am an Islamist, I am the Antichrist.
Oh my God.
That was written like post 9/11 era.
Wow.
I am an Islamist, I am the Antichrist. Those squares can make most wanted lists, but my, how I stay.
I didn't really think about it the first day, to be honest. I just sort of was trying to not. process it until I really had to. And now that today is like, this week I really started thinking about it very, very seriously.
Yeah, you said you didn't think about it the first day. Tell us about the second day. Like
Yeah.
when you did start talking
Day
about
two.
thinking about it.
You're now 30.
Actually, I was going to see my family, so we woke up on Saturday and just spent like the whole day talking about it, around the table and breakfast with my aunts and uncles who, immigrated to this country in the 80s.
What was the conversation like?
So I feel like I've gone through varying levels with my family, the older people in my family who immigrated in the 70s and 80s, of like both like how they deal with white supremacy and whether they'll name it. Like you'll be like, growing up in America as a person of color, you're like, white people are crazy, all the time. It's like sort of
White people, am I right?
Yeah, white people, am I right? That's just like just the thing that you do
That's
to
our
connect.
women be shopping.
And the older generation never understood that. They were like, white people, they've always been so welcoming to us. We've never, even if they say discriminatory things, like they're really there for us and they care about our status as Americans. And we were having this conversation where they're like, you know what? People of color need to unite. That's like what they were sort of like.
Woke auntie in the corner.
Yeah, they definitely are waking up for sure. Like I know a lot of people who are feeling that way.
You can't have just suddenly been politicized.
They were political, but they believed in the possibility of like basically like Muslims being accepted into mainstream, like if you just work hard and, are successful, like it's gonna, which is like, textbook, like respectability politics, that would eventually work. And we've been working for 15 years and it's gotten worse, like way worse. So I think that was like sort of the wake up call there is like, didn't matter what we did. It really made no difference, like the lives we were leading as Muslim citizens of the U.S. or children of immigrants.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing I experienced as an immigrant, where my the distancing from other brown people at first.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "You're Ethiopian, you're not black," and I'll be like,
Right. My black ass gets treated like I'm black, though.
Yeah,
so.
what does that mean?
Yeah.
But there's this move to distance yourself from the other blacks. I'm not like the other brown people. Maybe then we will be like assimilated into
For sure.
into the culture.
Yeah.
And now everyone's like, yo, fuck Donald Trump. Like in the YG voice.
Right.
Fuck Donald Trump.
Yeah. I feel like I should say, because I've noticed that I've been very quiet this conversation. And as the non-immigrant in the room, I just feel,
What do you have to say for yourself, Tracy?
I'm sorry. No.
Explain.
First of all, my immigration was forced. So there's that. Let's remember that.
We're not all immigrants.
No.
I was going to say that
definitely are not.
narrative has been so prevalent everywhere. Kind of like, America is the nation of immigrants. And I'm like, actually. First of all, shout out to the native Americans who were here.
Who were literally here
They
when
were
y'all got over
literally
here.
here.
Yes.
Shout out also to the ships. The many, many ships of people that came on over. And also this idea that it was kind of like, guys, let's emigrate to America.
For
It's
principles.
Like, right. It's like, no, when they got here, they also then began clambering to get to the top and like, shooting people down in an effort to do so. Like the history of most nation building anywhere in the world is deeply violent. But it's so benign, this whole thing of kind of like, guys, we're all a nation of immigrants, okay? And it's like, wait, what kind of reasonable fucking tone is that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's
just like the erasure involved is just ridiculous.
Right.
Also, speaking of like the beginning of America, I think I know mentioned this elsewhere, but I'm reading this book called White Trash. I'm sorry. But they really did come over here and just fuck everything up. They just fucked everything up. So yes, the whole nation of immigrant shit, we need to stop that for sure.
It's like there are really crucial not immigrants here.
Yeah. Big parts of American history that you're just like ignoring and turning a blind eye to in the name of like uniting everybody for the greater good of whatever the fuck.
And also it's like which immigrants and when and what laws.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
like before 65, there were so many, like there's scores and scores of laws preventing people from immigrating from certain places. And that's just like all these people who are not allowed to be a part of this nation of immigrants,
And also once a bunch of immigrants got here, there were laws that excluded them from prospering in society. society.
Couldn't become a citizen.
Right.
You know, if you're basically anything besides white for a period of time and then black or white for a period of time, you know, and there's lots of, and on this thing that you're talking about with like brown people wanting to be seen like separate from black people, you know, there's all these cases of like a Japanese American and an Indian American arguing in the Supreme Court that they're white, that we should be citizens because we're Caucasian, basically. And they didn't say black. They could have said black, but they said white, which is a very interesting, and I mean, I think we all know why. But,
I'm afraid I don't know why.
So let's circle back, as they like to say in media industries.
No, I will not allow it.
Let's circle back.
you don't like circle back?
We're not circling nowhere. We're not getting our T's in a row, whatever, our I's and our whatever.
Okay, but going
let's
forward.
return.
Moving on.
Yes, let's return to the executive order thing. And again, this is like one of those rare instances where I, as a black woman, I see some of the privilege that I do have, like the teaspoon, the teacup of privilege that I do have, because it's fucked up and I feel angry and depressed. But I also know that I'm not the one who's going to suffer as a result of this order. What are your biggest fears now?
I mean, my biggest fear is not for me. I have a working visa, which is why I get to live in New York at the moment without any kind of palaver. But I also think that it's not so much about me. I am still Muslim, and I'm also black. And you know, as a writer on Twitter pointed out, Rahawa Haile, she pointed out that
Love her.
I love her too. That 3 of the 7 nations in this ban are African countries, and the narrative of them, all these 7 countries in this travel ban being Middle Eastern, is wrong. And again, talking about erasure, that's like a very solid erasure. We have Libya, we have Sudan, and we have Somalia, and these are African nations. And then we have also, you know, the Iraq and the Iran and Yemen as well. And I just think I'm not worried about myself. I had a moment during the protest where I wanted to go down as both someone who is legally in this country and also as a reporter. And I wanted to go down to JFK and kind of record some of the people who were protesting at the airport. And the thing that made me stop was, what if I was to get arrested?
Oh shit!
Because I'm on a visa.
Yeah.
And that really worried me. And that immediately curtailed my ability to do my job because I was worried. And then I kept thinking, okay, Nigeria is not on the list now, but Nigeria is also the birth ground of Boko Haram. And what is to stop President Trump or anyone else adding on Nigeria to the list of countries? So I'm not so much thinking about myself in the moment. I'm thinking about myself in a constant state of flux. You know, what changes every day? What is going to further limit my rights, or what is going to, you know, I began thinking immediately, like, can I go on holiday back to London? Or, you know, I can't, it was not like I was planning a holiday in Somalia anyway, but suddenly I'm kind of like, you know, the stamps in my passport suddenly matter. The fact that I'm Muslim, the fact that my middle name is Arabic, you know, these are things that you think about in very kind of like flippant terms normally, but these are not normal times. So you begin to think about escalations, you know, what could happen, what will happen. But yeah, my initial thought on the day of the protest was, I want to go down there and kind of talk to people and take photos and do all this stuff. And then almost immediately the thought was, mate, what if you get arrested?
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't even have to be charged for that to be a blemish on my visa.
I mean, I'm also like very cognizant of my privileges as a U.S. citizen. You know, I was born here. I don't have like Pakistani dual citizenship. And Pakistan is not currently banned, although I think it is very likely and possible that it could be banned.
Only a matter of time.
Yeah. I mean, because this is the first thing they did.
Right. Yeah. This week one.
Yeah.
This is week one.
2.
Unless something like some serious opposition actually shuts the whole thing down, I feel like it might only get worse. But I'm also cognizant, like it's funny, Tracy, you know, hearing you talk about thinking about your privileges, because I've always faced extreme vetting at the border. It was inconsistent, but it did happen sometimes. We used to prepare with my family how can we avoid this? Because it was so traumatizing. So we would like get the sweetest auntie in the group. We would
The most respectable of everyone.
Yeah, we would put, and in a way, looking back, it's like we should have resisted more, but it was like very inconsistent. Sometimes I would show up on a border and they'd let me through. They'd be like, "Welcome to America," and I was like, "Okay, this is great." But
what's about to happen? Where's Ashton Kutcher?
But then there was me and another cousin who had more than anybody else in the family, we would get stopped and put in various levels of detention. So there's like primary screening where they're like, okay, we need you to wait while we check some things. And then there's secondary screening where they're like, we're going to put you in a room where the first room can't see you. And
what?
Yeah.
So this is in the airport?
Yes. Usually...
Like, it's not like a separate place they take you? Like, what's happening?
Well, both it's in the airport and I'm talking about the Canada-U.S. border. So we go to visit people in Canada and we come back and we're getting stopped there. And so I mostly face primary detention. I've only gone to like the secondary room like once or twice. But my cousin would often get put in secondary detention.
Is your cousin a dude?
Yes, he's also a dude, and he's also a journalist. And he writes the song Sharia Law in the USA, by the way. So that's probably why he's being detained. And so you would ask, like, why am I being detained? And they're like, well, your name is on a list. You probably have the same name as some bad dude out there. I heard that so many times. And you would just sit there for like between 2 hours, 6 hours. 6 hours is probably the max.
That's ridiculous.
And no info. You're doing nothing.
So in those 6 hours, what if you happen to miss your flight or whatever?
Well,
or is it only after you've landed that it happens?
Only after I've landed.
Right.
Although I've missed connections, I think, once from like JFK to like back to Michigan. But so one interesting thing about this is the whole family had strategies around it because...
Word. It's like a fire drill.
Yeah. And like it's like scary for somebody to just like... They just vanished from the face of the earth. We were supposed to get my cousin from the Canadian border. He was taking a bus over, and the bus never showed up. He didn't call. My sisters were in Detroit waiting for the bus for like 6 hours. We're like, what the fuck is happening? And then we realized, of course, that they had detained him. And it's like, that's a very scary thing that, like, he is a U.S. citizen. They're going to let him in. But it's like... We don't really know what's happening. And this experience of Trump's ban was so crazy to me because I'm like, that's what I'm experiencing as a U.S.-born person who speaks English really well. It's my first language.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not an immigrant, and we would come up with these strategies. My ultimate thing to my family was like, there's no strategies, guys. If they want to harass the fuck out of you, they're going to harass it.
That's real.
Right.
My cousin would be like, oh, let me do the talking. I'll be nice to them. And then he would do it. And then he would get, like, the guy would be like, how come you went to Pakistan? Like, what are you doing in Pakistan? You go to any camps there? And he would be like, okay, I guess I
bruh.
can. So there's no way to prevent it, really. That's what I learned as well.
And what are some of the things you did?
Well, I didn't really do them, honestly. I'm on team, like, you can't do anything. It's like to make you feel scared. It's not really useful for them. But I would, like, my mom for years, when I got my 18-year-old passport, my mom was like, shave your beard in your passport photo. I was like, I'm going to have a beard for probably the rest of my life. So that's dumb. But I did it. And I like kind of like after that, I realized it wasn't me. And like they were harassing me for a perception of who I was and not who I actually was. So I was like, I'm not going to change who I am at the border. Like I'm not generally a confrontational person, but I'm like, so I'm not, I guess in a way what I'm learning now is like now that it's affecting so many people who don't have my privileges, I'm like, I should have resisted. I should have written about it. I should have been like, look at what's happening to me as a U.S. citizen, even like think about all these people who are facing it and being deported or like don't have contacts. I would basically just like, I basically tried to make it so I didn't answer the questions that were clearly invasive and personal and not at all about my travel. Like, like, what does your family in Pakistan do? What is their jobs? Do they have any connection to the Pakistani military? Questions like that I was like not traveling from, like like UK to the US has nothing to do with my travel. And I would say like, I don't want to answer those questions. They threaten you basically like, we'll detain you even longer. And what I really should have been was like, hell yeah, detain me longer. This isn't a violation of my rights.
Right.
But I was like kind of scared because I didn't, I don't know I can't contact anybody, can't tell anybody. One of the things that really changed my thinking about this is that interview I did with one of the lawyers from CARE. Her name is Zahra Billu on the podcast. On the episode we released yesterday, I asked her what can people who are not affected by the ban, which at this point includes me, besides like extreme vetting possibly, what can they do to help? And her first thing was like, resist. If you have the privilege, you should resist. And I realized, as someone who's been going through all, sort of extra security, borders, questioning for years, that I hadn't done that before. Like it was something that I could be doing and hadn't yet. So yeah, I've just been thinking about that a lot in the past few days and thinking about the people who can't resist.
Right.
So that's the interview we have at the end of the episode, right?
Yes. There's a full interview on See Something, Say Something. But that bit where I ask her what you can do, we'll be putting out that at the end of this episode.
Word.
Awesome. Yeah, so speaking of your podcast, See Something, Say Something, I heard it's been kind of lit lately since everything's gone down. Y'all got like extra episodes coming out.
I really wanted to take a nap after the live show that was last week. And then over the weekend, the ban happened. And I was like, you know what?
Can't catch a break.
I was like, I guess we're releasing 3 episodes in 1 week because we need to talk about this.
Y'all out here. We see you.
Yeah. You're like the woke baby at the protest.
With just the scribbles.
No. The baby that said, I take naps. And then on the back, it was like, but I stay woke.
Yeah. So we had an episode that we released yesterday called Band Together, where we talked to 2 lawyers who have been at the airports. They've been at the protests. They've been organizing. And one thing that they did that I think will be useful for your listeners is they gave us a list of things you can do if you are not affected by the protests, but you want to help participate in like the movements towards change. They really have some like really useful info, I think, for like how to think about this as like something that is going to be with us for many years. This is week 1, and it's so much has already happened.
So we're going to put that at the end of this episode because it's important. Everybody needs to hear it. And also we have some very nice, well-intentioned white listeners who I'm sure can benefit from hearing that.
Who also stay writing emails.
That's what we asked them.
So I put it all in one place. All right.
Yes, but if you are not subscribed to See Something, Say Something, do it right now. You should have done it yesterday, but we forgive you. But do it now because it's important. Tell all your friends. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
long-time fan.
I love your faces. They just make me happy.
Dude,
Same. Dude buds. Yes.
Okay, so next time can you guys come back and we can like play a game or something?
Yeah, let's do something
Yes.
fun.
Because this is a lot.
I really hate that I have to talk about serious stuff all the time.
I know.
Yeah.
Come back and have a fun thing.
I just came here to have a good time and I'm feeling honestly so attacked.
Come back for Games with Friends. We will make it up to you. And a thing that I recently realized is that there are not a lot of podcasts that center Muslim voices.
Yeah.
I asked for Rex on Twitter, and all of the Rex were See Something, Say Something.
Yes.
There are 2 others I can think of that are.
There's
that are
Good
good.
Muslim, Bad Muslim.
Right, hosted by Zara Nurbaksh and Taz Ahmed out in the West Coast. Really strong, badass feminist podcast. And then there's Identity Politics, which had a name, Hawa wa Iman, before, which is 2 Black Muslim women talking about Black Muslim identity. Run by Alt Muslima. That's also pretty good. We're trying to get them on the show. We haven't yet, but that's definitely on our list.
Y'all out here?
Yeah, subscribe to all of these shows, especially See Something, Say Something, and tell all of your friends and family and your internet people to listen because this is important for the revolution and the resistance.
And it's just fun.
Yeah.
All right, shout out to them. We got to go pay some bills.
We'll be back, though.
We'll be back.
Don't worry. Support for Another Round comes from Squarespace. With Squarespace, you get a unique domain experience that's simple to set up and an all-in-one platform to help you create a beautiful website. Which brings me to a game of Would You Rather Internet Edition. And here is where we invite Tyler Sorensen from BuzzFeed's creative department into the studio to ask me one hard Would You Rather question about the internets. Hi, Tyler.
Hey, Tracy.
What's up?
Not much. I have your question, though, if you want to answer that.
Let's do it.
Here it is. It's, would you rather your employer see your search history or your parents?
Easy answer. I would rather have my employer see my search history because I can blame it on working for a company as strange as BuzzFeed. Like, oh, I had to look up this very embarrassing thing because I'm researching it for a post. But I would have no excuses for my mom. I mean, I guess it could have been just be like, no, it's for work.
So you don't really care who
I
sees
don't care.
it? Okay.
Show it to the world. Get your unique domain today at squarespace.com. If you sign up for a year, the domain is completely free, and you can also save 10% off your first purchase with the offer code Another Round, as in the title of the wonderful show that you are listening to right now. Make your next move with Squarespace. So we had a chance to talk to a man named Yasha.
Yasha is from Iran, and he asked to only use his first name for probably obvious reasons.
Yes, which naturally we're going to honor. So Yasha and his wife went to the airport to pick up his wife's parents, so his parents-in-law. They had not seen their in-laws in over 3 years. And it was to be a normal thing. We're going to go fly and see our family. We'll spend some time and then we'll fly back home. A thing that many of us privileged enough to do every day, all the time. But once they landed, Yasha found out that they were to be detained. They ended up being detained for 30 hours. 30 hours in an airport with no bed. And he was kind enough to sit down with us and tell us his story. And he told us where he found hope in the whole ordeal, which is amazing to me because hope would not be a thing that I would expect to see in this situation.
Just so much is happening right now. Can you tell us a little bit what your story is?
So it began with my parents-in-law wanted to visit us because we are here about from I think it's August 2013. So it's about 3 years and a half, and we cannot leave country because we are in single entry visa. So I don't know if you know what that means, because it's like you enter the USA and you cannot leave. If you leave, you need to apply for visa again. So don't want to risk that because it's you may get not, the visa, or it may have some delay, so you may miss a semester or so, and that's that doesn't. It's really risky. So
how long does it take once you apply for a visa? About how long does it take until you get approved?
So it depends. Usually, I mean, at least 2-3 months. For Iranians, it can go up to 1 year. So it's unbelievable.
Wow.
I have a friend that waited about 1 year to get into his PhD program.
Wow.
And it's not like, that you apply and you get 1 to 3 weeks. So it's some kind of these vetting. And my parents-in-law was applied, I think, at mid of the May, and they got approved after 5 months in October.
Oh, wow.
So in late of the October. So they got their visa, I think, at January 4th.
And they got this visa specifically to come visit you and your wife here in the States?
Yes, on tourist visa, yeah.
Okay.
So at January 4th, they get the visa, and they wanted to come to visit us for 1 month or 2.
What were you trying to do with your parents?
So we wanted them to actually show them basically New York, and spend time together. You get hope that they will come, and you just disappointed, and that makes my wife cry for I don't know, for 30 hours. She cried, she happy. I was so worried, At some point you think it's really not a good situation. So because you don't know what's happening over there. Some rumors came that they deported, and it was really hard.
There seems to be a lot of misinformation, even just by the people who are executing these orders. What did you experience at the airport, and what was that wait like?
So actually, we arrived at 11:30. We expect them to come about. Usually it's JFK, so we heard that it took maybe 2-3 hours. But when we arrived, we noticed with other Iranian that they don't let Iranian to come out.
So when you got to the airport to meet your parents-in-law, you knew that there was a potential that there may be some trouble.
Because, but we were hopeful because the executive order, when they signed, there was like in some kind of like a flight, because that's a very long, flight. So you need to, we don't have like a straight flight to USA. So at that point, we you knew something, but you don't want to believe it.
Right.
We went there, and at that point that we knew that they don't let the green card holder come out. We know that's a really hard situation.
How are you getting this information?
Because there were lots of people waiting hours ago.
So you were talking with the other families?
Yes, there was. They were here, and we talked together and find out they were there like for 3-4 hours. Because at that point, I think they, like the officials over there, didn't even know if they can put the green card holders out or no. You know what I mean? Because it was some kind of miscommunication between them and like administration or something like that. And we were so devastated at that point. And we were waiting just like others, and like at 1 p.m., 2 p.m., like some lawyers show us up. And they say, do you want us to work for you? And we said, why not? Like, let's give it a shot.
So at this point, you know that your parents are they're not going to release them, right?
Yes. And my wife went and talked to somebody there, and I think they told her that all the visiting visa will be deported. So we know that they will be deported at that time.
Oh, wow.
But, And, like, my wife was crying and asked just for a minute to visit.
Yeah, just to see her parents.
She wanted just to... And, I mean, I don't blame them, because that's this situation, you usually have some routines, because they say, if it happens, you do this. If it happens, you do this. But usually they that's some unusual also for like the custom border people, because they don't know what to do with this some kind of law, because they don't allow obviously that people to go over the border.
So it sounds like it was pretty chaotic over there.
Yeah, I mean, that was like from the outside, you don't see, like, because we are at the Terminal 1. So we didn't even know at that time there is some protest at Terminal 4.
Okay.
Were you surprised to see the protesters?
Yes, I mean, like, it was good. I think, I don't know how impact they have, but I think that was helping. Because there are lots of people there, like protest and I mean, and the lawyers was like unbelievable. Like I don't know what to say. Like, you know what I mean? Like.
So when did you meet the lawyers? Did they find you or did you find them?
Yeah, actually they found us. These lawyers came at us and say, okay, we know that these are situations. We have some other people at other terminals, and do you want to file on behalf of us, and got our information?
Wow.
And also, I mean, at the night, there was about like maybe 40 people, I don't know, like, and you can see from the pictures at the Terminal 4, there are lots of people, like, I mean, these people, you don't believe it. I think they are like some kind of heroes, some kind of unnamed heroes. I mean, there was a lawyer that I heard that he has like, they are also in practice. I mean, they have really probably good paid job in Manhattan. You know what I mean? It's not New York City. So when a lawyer will get Manhattan, usually they should have. So they came like to work at day like Saturday, Sunday to work for us for free.
Yeah, there's a lot of photos of them in the food court and just setting up shop. And
40 lawyers, that's a lot.
At some point, you think this is the history of USA. I mean, the people comes together. I even asked one a lawyer, it is possible that some federal judge, like, making the executive order inactive even for hours, and just say, we will try. But you know what I mean? With some kind of feeling that it's like you tried and you hope for the best.
So these lawyers, they worked with you and your wife, and your parents-in-law were eventually released, right?
Yes, they were detained for about like 30 hours, maybe.
30 hours.
Maybe more.
And you were there the whole time
Yeah.
waiting on them to be released, right?
Yes. We were there the whole time from 11:30 a.m. on Saturday up to 4 p.m. on Sunday when they released.
That's such a long time. How were the people who work at the airport, the people who were detaining your parents-in-law, were they nice to you? Were they kind? What were they like? How were you treated while you were there?
So because we couldn't contact them for about I think 7 to 8 hours. So after that, we just have until they release. We had about 3 to 4 phone calls. Our parents said that they were nice people, but they didn't. It seems I don't, because I wasn't, at the other side. But my parents-in-law told us that they were nice. They even don't like to treated them like this, but that's the law. So they didn't have. But they was detainee at the room that there's no bed, and they also checked the cell phones. I don't know, because I just came 4 years ago here. I don't know if now is the thing that they can check your cell phone to see
No, that's not
what's
a thing.
going on.
Yeah, no, they should
I don't
not
know.
have done that. No.
What do you want people to know about your family's experience?
I mean, it's it's.
A lot of people
it's
don't have
some
to
kind
deal
of-
with immigration or with the whole visa process, and feel very removed from this.
I mean, even it's not the immigration, right? I mean, they are people that I know have more extreme experience because they were waiting for the wife. They were waiting for their very old parents, and these people aren't harmful, Even a gentleman came out and he was I think 80 or 90. I mean, how harmful can be this guy? And also there are some refugees. I mean, there are some refugees. These people they flew from the countries, and they deport them. I don't know what to say.
So after 30 hours, your parents-in-law are finally let go. How did you feel once you saw them?
I mean, we were my wife is was crying again, but I think it was from happiness. But
Yeah.
it was so unbelievable. I mean, it was some kind of magical, some kind of I cannot even explain. We don't actually believe now that they are here because we get some hope. It was at that moment. I mean, that was really one of the happiest moments of our life.
I bet.
But I think that was I think that's a very brief time for because my parents went to embassy in January 19, and they also wanted to come visit at the summer. We don't know what would happen, because from now on, based on this law, they cannot visit.
Right.
So what would you, moving forward, how are you approaching the situation, and what should our listeners know about what they should be paying attention to?
I'm going to tell, go for what you believe in. Everything is possible. I mean, that's basically my experience is if we people believe in something, we can come together and make things happen. I think this is what makes USA great. This is, I mean, if I can tell USA in one sentence, I would tell it's where the place, the people have the power came together and make things happen.
We are so glad that you were treated well. We're so glad that you have your parents-in-law, and we are so privileged to have you talk to us. Thank you so much for your time.
And thank you for sharing your story.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Baby, come through. You deserve rounds tonight.
Tracy, I have chills.
Who you buying around for?
Okay, so you know I love me like a good, fun pop jam bop.
Right.
And I have a new one in my life.
Is it Carly Slae Jepsen again?
It is not. Okay. It is a one Bruno Mars.
Oh, he's adorable.
He's adorable. He has a new album out called 24 Karat Magic.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a song that made me think of you, Tracy.
Oh.
And I'm going to play it for you because it's so much fun.
Okay.
And I was just talking about before we started recording how much in Trump's America I'm going to be about a bright color.
Yeah.
You know, a pop of color, as they say.
Inject some sunshine in this dreary-ass dystopian landscape.
Yes. I'm going to be out here.
Shining.
I'm currently in the brightest shirt I've ever worn.
Yeah, she's in like this beautiful like marigold sweater, and then with the purple lip, it's just
ooh,
like, bam.
Fuck it up, heaven.
Fuck it up, heaven. Fuck it up, heaven.
Out here tripping and finesse. You know what you know.
Sing, Kevin.
But
I need to listen to this album.
We are out here tripping and finesse.
Yes.
You know it. You know it.
I love it. I love the return to the 90s New Jack Swing.
Yes.
More New Jack Swing.
I want to like roll up in like a motorcycle squad with my girls.
Right? That's a good round. I approve.
Who are you buying around for, Chase?
I am buying around for taking my shoes off.
Ooh, you do be taking your shoes off.
I don't have on shoes as we speak. So
I respect your sock game too.
I'm trying to step it up because honestly, my sock game is not as weak. It's pretty weak.
So so for people who don't work at BuzzFeed, what are you talking about?
So,
why are your feet out?
My feet, well, they're not all the way out. I'm wearing house shoes, some little fuzzy slippers, because I find that I'm more productive when I'm comfortable. And shoes are cute and everything, but if I'm like sitting down, I just don't like the feel of them on my feet.
Absolutely.
I was in a bar once.
Oh, Lord.
I was so embarrassed because it's like muscle memory. I go somewhere, I sit down, and I take my shoes off.
Wait.
So this was like the third bar of the night. So I'm a little warm about that. Yeah, you know.
Whatever that yoga made verb is.
A little warm in the liver, we can say.
Ooh.
But I was wearing like these really tall black boots that I had to like unzip to get off.
Okay, Tracy.
And so, I mean, that was cute. But obviously when you walk past, you see these big ass boots not on my feet. Then you notice that I'm just in here in public with no shoes on.
I just realized what you were saying.
What happened?
Those fly ass shoes, I was distracted. Were the shoes you took off at a bar?
Those are the shoes that I took off.
You just lay them about.
And I didn't even notice, Heben, that I took off my shoes until a waiter walked by and he was like, you know, it's like, I appreciate you being comfortable, but it's a bar. Can you
make yourself uncomfortable?
In here, you know? And I was like, you know what? You're right. That's fair. Taking off my shoes feels the same as taking off your bra at the end of the day.
Ooh.
Or taking off your pants when you get home. Blah, 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 just like, bam, you know? And I can't really...
That's the noise they make.
Why? How many boobs are in this bra that she's looking up?
They're just whipping them out.
Just bouncing and swaying in the breeze.
Yeah. They're like, freedom. Hair's blowing in the wind.
That's how it feels when I take my feet off.
My feet off. I feel that, Tracy.
Yeah. So shout out to not wearing shoes. If you can take off your shoes right now, you should do it.
I really, really respect your determination to be comfortable everywhere that you are.
I mean, if you want me to be productive.
Any space that you are in.
You're damn right.
It's revolutionary, Tracy.
It is. I'm a revolutionary who will take off her
socks
shoes
are revolutionary.
in your restaurant.
Tracy, we made it. Hey, Tracy, we made it. Hey. Every
we
day,
did it,
that
man.
song gets more and more relevant.
A thing that I have to remind myself more often since y'all's little president started squatting in the White House is that that your being alive is proof that there has never been anything that has happened on this earth that you have not survived before. I have to tell myself that a lot.
I hear your voice saying that to me every day.
Oh, we made it.
Tracy, we made it. Yo, this has been an incredible episode, and we really want to give a shout out to all the people that made it happen.
Super, super big, huge thank you to the people who were out protesting and took time out of their busy schedule of literally fighting for the future of this world to talk to us. We really, really appreciate it.
Shout out to y'all.
Couldn't have done this without the help of tons and tons of people, starting with the amazing Ahmed Ali Akbar and Bim Adewunmi. Definitely listen to See Something, Say Something. It's awesome. It's amazing. And these, once again, are the voices that you really, really, really need to listen to right now. It's really, really important that you listen to the excerpt from See Something, Say Something that we're going to play because it's got some great directives and what you can do yourself to help people out. Also, subscribe. You can follow Ahmed at Rad Brown Daz on Twitter and Bim at BIMADE Derbia. That's W for those who don't know how to speak country.
We'd also like to thank Sal Hernandez and Yasha, whose family we're so glad is safe. And
yes.
Sal is the one who put us together.
Praise.
So shout out to reporters and shout out to people being safe.
And shout out to the Pod Squad.
Pod Squad.
This episode, oh, that was beautiful.
Squad.
Okay, all right. This episode was produced by Nina Paddock and Julia Furlan with editorial oversight from Eleanor Kagan and Meg Kramer and production support from Chiquita Pascal. Shout out to our in-house musicians, Miss Jean Gray and Don Will from the Almighty Tanya Morgan. You can follow them both respectively at Jean Greasy and Don Will.
Shout out to Tracy.
Hey, it's me. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to. I don't know. I just be tweeting.
Put her tweet on a sign.
Yes. Can I brag a little bit for a second, guys?
Yo, talk your shit, Tracy.
So a certain someone on Twitter, her name is Alicia Johnson, and she tweeted a picture that, of course, I'm going to put in the newsletter. And, of course, I'm going to put it on, like, a T-shirt and wear it for the rest of my life. So she was out of the protest in New York City, and their protest sign was a tweet of mine that they had blown up and printed out.
Wait, which tweet? It could be anything.
I know. When I first recognized this as a tweet of mine, I was like, oh, shit. I've embarrassed my entire country. But the tweet...
I'm imagining it's one of the, like, tweets to Barack.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. But, like, one of the more salacious ones.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it was not that. It was a tweet that just said, checks and balances, where y'all at? And so she took a picture of it, and she said, I'm saying...
Put her tweet on a sign, damn it.
Preferably all the tweets that say Tom Hanks is a black man.
Yes.
Put those on there. Take it out into the streets.
That has nothing to do with anything, but I will allow it. You can follow me at Heaven Rants. Occasionally, I will rant.
Yeah. Put our tweets on the sign, too.
You can find us on Facebook, email, and Twitter at Another Round at BuzzFeed.com.
Another round on all the things.
Another round on all the things.
Rate us on iTunes. Tell a friend. It's very, very important to the show. It's how podcasts grow. And we want our little baby to keep, growing. Motor skills, all that stuff.
Motor skills and all that stuff. To see how our baby's doing, subscribe to our newsletter. Subscribe to our newsletter at BuzzFeed.com/anotherround/newsletter.
Yes, drink some water, take your meds, call your person, keep your head up. Floss.
Stretch and meditate.
And, you poppin'.
So for this mini episode, I'm going to talk to two lawyers about how the immigration ban happens and also get some practical advice for all the different types of people who are affected by it and want to make things better. Zahra Billu is a civil rights lawyer and community organizer who leads the California chapter of the Council of American Islamic Relations. Welcome, Zahra.
Thanks so much for having me.
Welcome, Zahra. I'm sorry, I keep on Daisifying everyone's name.
It's really, I'm Daisy, so I get it.
Okay. And we're also joined by Ramzi Qasim. He's a professor of law at CUNY School of Law, where he directs the CLEAR project, which stands for Creating Law Enforcement Accountability and Responsibility. Thanks for being here, Ramzi.
Thank you.
And I should also disclose that my sister used to work with Ramzi at CLEAR years past.
Shout out to Amna.
part of the reason why I invited Rumsey in here is Clear released this really amazing infographic about what to do if you think you're affected by the Muslim ban. And we're going to talk about that. And Zahra, you've been involved in organizing over on the West Coast, right? And litigating.
I'm not sure which coast we're on or what day of the week it is anymore, and I thank Donald Trump for throwing me off. But yes, we are organizing out here.
So, obviously, Zahra, you started talking about this with the resisting at the border. But how are people that are not affected by the ban, like myself, or like even, non-Muslim folks who are just like, there's so much passion in the United States around the protests. Like, what do you think is the most effective way to help counter this policy for, people who are just listening in?
I'm going to give them a list.
Okay. Yes, please. We love lists here at BuzzFeed.
So assuming no protest. Well, okay. If there is not a protest, there's nothing.
Protest.
But I was going to say, if there isn't a protest, there's nothing stopping anyone from organizing one. Something that we've said all week is we are stretched so thin on the legal and community education piece. Pick up a sign and show up somewhere. And people have been, and it's been really heartwarming. So do that. The second thing is to call your members of Congress and ask them to oppose Donald Trump's nominations and speak out against the executive order. I know that people have been saying, the lines have been booked up. You would be surprised at how many American citizens I meet who don't know that they have 2 U.S. senators or how to reach them or any of that. And so call your elected officials immediately. I would say the third thing is recognizing that some of this a lot of this, particularly from the Trump administration, stems from Islamophobia. And so one of the best ways I would suggest that people can be allies is to host a conversation about the executive order, about Islamophobia, about what Muslims are experiencing at their workplace, at their place of worship, at a book club. But have those conversations if you're feeling concerned, so that we can raise awareness. It always gets me how many people don't understand what it's like to have the FBI knock on your door, or to not know if your pregnant wife who has been missing for 6 hours is getting deported or coming through to finally come home, right? And so having conversations like this, hosting events, inviting Muslim speakers and other allied lawyers to talk about this to new audiences is important. The last thing I'll say is every single organization that is doing this has staff on the ground who haven't slept in weeks, right? They're stretched so thin. And so people who care should also just put their money where their mouth is and make their donations to Clear, to CARE, to Asian Law Caucus, to ADC, right? But that is both going to enable the work and communicate to the workers that we care about you and we're with you on this.
Super thorough.
I echo every single one of those, and I'll add 2. I'll say, the first thing is you have to sustain your passion. One of my biggest concerns, frankly, is that the level of interest and passion and apparent commitment to pushing back is going to die down with time. And these policies, their effect is going to continue. And so sustain your passion. You have to do what you need to do to pace yourself, but to make sure that you're there not just today and tomorrow, but a year from now and 2 years from now and perhaps even longer, right? For as long as it takes to make sure that we're opposing this consistently and whatever else comes out of the Trump administration consistently and effectively. I'm concerned that people's interest is going to fade and that's how normalization will gradually set in. And so we have to be aware of that from the beginning, and we have to be deliberate about staving that off and sustaining our passion and our commitment to resistance over the long term, because we're in this for the long haul. And the only other thing I'll say is, in addition to monetary contributions, which I completely agree with Zahra are necessary for CARE, for CLEAR, for all the other organizations that are doing this, you can contribute in kind as well. If you're a fluent Farsi or Arabic speaker tonight, the lawyers who are at Terminal 4 in JFK tonight need people on the phone even who can interpret into or from Arabic and Farsi. If you're a good cook some meals, take them over there. If any service that you can provide, translation, interpretation, any kind of volunteer service that you can provide, administrative support, any of that can be used by the organizations who are trying to do some of the legal work, and most importantly, organizing protests and sustaining a presence there in those spaces.
Thank you so much, guys. I feel like I learned a lot about everything. There's so much I did not know, and I think a lot of our listeners will benefit from that, and also, of course, the work you guys are doing at the airports on the West Coast and the East Coast. So, Zahra, where can people, if people want to follow along with CARE, what they're doing, and you, how can they do so in the days to come?
I think that the best ways to keep in touch with CARE are going to be by following CARE on Facebook and Twitter, so they can just look us up as CARE National. And then I'm posting live updates from the West Coast as we get them, so they can follow me on Twitter at Zahra Billu.
And Ramzi, how about yourself and CLEAR?
For CLEAR, check us out on Twitter and Facebook. Our Twitter handle is CUNY _clear, CUNY_clear. You can also check out our website, www.cunyclear.org.
So we'll link to all of that in the episode description, and we'll also link to CLEAR's guidelines for if you feel like you're being affected by the travel ban. Thank you both for being with us. It was really, really enlightening.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Us.
Did you see RuPaul's Drag Race last night?
Of course I did.
It blew my mind.
It's all I ever talk about, and I can't find anybody to talk about it with, so I am so thankful that you're here.
I mean, you have become my RuPaul's Drag Race soulmate, and I am thrilled that we have a new podcast at BuzzFeed called The Library, where this is all we talk about.
Here, it truly is RuPaul's best friend race.
I could not agree with you more. So join us every Saturday as we recap the latest episode of Season 9 and gag over TV's best reality show.
Tune in wherever you find your podcasts.